Is this a turning point? Is this something that the Cardinals can grasp a hold of, even though it is a terrible Diamondbacks team? Is it one of those series that could essentially change the rest of the season because they got themselves right?
It could be. It could be. You sweep the Diamondbacks. You won one of the last 2 games against Pittsburgh, so it's 4 out of 5 now. So you're feeling pretty good about yourself going into Colorado. But, the Rockies aren't very good either. So you've got to go to Colorado now and really kind of put your foot on their throat and win, 3 out of 4 in that series. If you do that, then you can really start thinking, okay, we've turned a corner and here we come. And, you can start looking at the fact that, okay, this team's going to start getting healthy. Harrison Bader was in the dugout by the end of the game today. He's going to go with the team on this road trip, and hopefully we'll be playing at some point in Colorado, if not tomorrow night. So that's a good thing. All signs are we're going to get good news on Jordan Hicks by the end of the week, that things are progressing, and maybe, we can see a light at the end of the tunnel, that we're going to get him back in the bullpen maybe after the All-Star break. So there's a positive thing. Cody Whitley is on a rehab assignment, so there's another piece to your bullpen. It came out today that Miles Michaelis is going to start revving things up around the All-Star break. So you're starting to think maybe you're going to get him back at the end of August, first part of September. There's still the big question is Jack. I've heard things that he could be back in August. I've heard he might not be back until September. Wow. So, but you are definitely starting to get healthy. And if you can go into Colorado, win 2 or 3 games out of that series and start to feel good about yourselves before you finish, this first half with the Cubs and the Giants, if the Cardinals can get themselves to within 5 games of the Brewers by the break, I think all of a sudden you've put pressure on Mo in the front office again, where you say, okay, here we come. You've got to go make that move that makes us a legit contender, because we've got a whole lot of games with Milwaukee. I think there's 12 games with the Brewers in the second half. So, the opportunity is going to be there. If they can make a little run here in this next 2 weeks and get themselves within striking distance at the All-Star break, I think you really put pressure on Mo to make a move to really make this team competitive as you go down the stretch in the second half.
And you talk a little bit about the fact that Colorado is terrible right now. You look at the Cubs too, and after a kind of a surprisingly hot start, they've been absolutely terrible as well the last couple of weeks, really, and the last couple of games as well. They've just been. I don't even know how to explain it. How do you go from leading a couple of different games or having games tied and then giving up 12 and 14 unanswered runs against Milwaukee? Does that show you that Milwaukee is the class of the NL Central, or is it more so a testament to the Cubs just being very, very bad?
Well, I think if you're the Cardinals, you have to look at it and go, okay, so, the Cubs were really hot for a while. Everybody was talking about how good the Cubs bullpen was, and it was kind of the thing that was really driving that team. Well, now they've hit a big roadblock. They've kind of fell apart, kind of imploded against Milwaukee. So now the Cubs have kind of fallen back to you. They're in second place and only 2 games ahead of you. So if you're the Cardinals, you look at that and go, okay, so now we win a couple of games. We can jump over the Reds. We can jump over the Cubs. And then you get closer to the Brewers. And you talk about the Brewers. Yeah, they're really hot right now. But we've kind of seen this in this division. The Cardinals were really hot in April and May, made that run, had the best record in the National League for a little while. Then they cooled off. Then the Cubs got hot for a while. Now it's the Brewers' turn. So if you're the Cardinals, you're going, okay, let's just keep afloat while the Brewers are hot. Let's get healthy and then, stay within striking distance, and it's our turn to make that run. I don't think the Brewers are that good. Their pitching has been the thing that has really led them. But we've seen the same thing with the Brewers that we saw a couple of years ago, where they've really relied on their bullpen a whole lot in this first half. And can they kind of wear them down to maybe where they don't hold up in the second half? And they've gotten a lot more out of their starting rotation than they expected. And their lineup's still really not doing a whole lot. So I think that there's coming a point here before too terribly long where the Brewers are going to come back to earth. And then it's just a question of, can the Cardinals capitalize on that?
And you're going to start seeing that with the Cardinals getting healthy. KK today, 5 innings, 3 hits, an earned run, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Just another decently effective start for him. He's not a guy that's going to go 7 innings. He's not going to go 8 or 9 or anything like that. He's not going to be overly dominant. But because you're starting to get guys healthy, it allows them to slide what they've already done, John Gant, into the bullpen. Well, now Gant can come in and pitch a couple of innings on the back end of a KK start. He went 2, gave up just a hit and a walk, and then you can lead right into that, lights out bullpen. I know Roel Ramirez didn't do so well today, 3 earned runs against, but Ryan Helsley and Alex Reyes both came in. Reyes, too, considering he had a 2-inning save last night, to come in and get another save, his 20th on the year. It means that they are getting towards the end of the first half, which means Reyes will get a bit of a break. But a little surprised that he was available again today after a 2-inning save last night.
Normally I don't think he would have been, but the fact that the Cardinals have been so bad, he really hasn't pitched much in June. So I think it was a situation where he was really fresh, and so they were able to go out there. And he threw 2 innings last night, but he only threw 32 pitches in those 2 innings. So it wasn't like he was really overworked going into the game today, and he was dominant. And something about Alex Reyes that's really being overlooked. Nobody's talking about this. Alex Reyes now has converted 22 straight saves in his major league career. He's never blown one. The major league record is 23. He's 1 away from tying the major league record for most saves to start a career. So, that's pretty impressive. And, you talk about Alex Reyes, and I still saw people today going, man, we need to make Gallegos a closer because Reyes makes me nervous. The guy's got an 0.94 earned run average. He's unhittable. The only trouble he gets in is that he walks people. Nobody can touch him with a bat. The guy's just absolutely filthy, and he's as dominant as we thought he was going to be 3 or 4 years ago when he was the top pitching prospect in baseball.
Well, and the other part of it is the maturity level, because I was watching the game last night at hockey, and, he gives up the leadoff single in the 8th inning. The guy moves over on a balk when he tried to pick him off, and then a single, and all of a sudden it's 1st and 3rd, no outs. He bears down and he gets a strikeout, and then he gets a double play ball to end the inning. That's something that a lot of people would not have expected out of Alex Reyes last year, maybe even earlier this year. And it's going to make things a lot tougher when a guy like Jordan Hicks does come back. How do you slot that that bullpen now? Is Alex Reyes your closer? And then you put Hicks in front of him and Gallegos in front of him. And on piggybacking on that, there was a rumor I heard out today that said that the Cardinals may want to look at making Giovanni Gallegos available as a trade option. Is that something that could be in play if the Cardinals were to continue to struggle after the All-Star break?
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening. Just because even if the Cardinals do struggle, they're thinking they're going to rebound next year and be competitive. So I don't see them trading anybody, to be totally honest with you, off of this major league roster at the trade deadline, no matter what happens. If they really struggle, I think they'll just stay pat. But yeah, I don't see them moving a guy like Gallegos, who's a huge weapon and will be a big piece of that bullpen, and is still under team control for another couple of years. I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why that was even a consideration, trying to get picks or what have you. It just didn't make any sense. But so you said Jordan Hicks is likely or potentially coming back right around the All-Star break, if not after. And like I said earlier, where does he slot in? Is Alex Reyes there? Or because Reyes hasn't pitched as much and they want to get him to 100 innings, do they end up moving him out of that 9th inning role and put him into something like like the John Gant thing, a couple innings after a KK or a couple innings after a Wainwright if he goes short? Or do you keep Reyes in that spot and try not to disrupt his flow?
Yeah, I think they're going to keep him right where he is. You want the kid to have – this is his first healthy year in 3 or 4 years. Yeah. You want him just to have a dominant year and not do anything to disrupt him. And you don't want to bring Jordan Hicks back and immediately throw him in a high-pressure role either. I would imagine when Hicks comes back, he's going to be your 6th or 7th inning guy. Probably not see real high-leverage situations, at least at first. Cabrera will probably be that 7th inning guy, and Hicks filling in, like I said, 5th, 6th inning, 7th inning every once in a while. But they're going to be really careful with him. It's been a year and a half really since he's really pitched much in the major leagues. So I don't see him stepping into a high leverage role right away.
Okay, it's September. It's down the stretch, and the Cardinals are fighting for a division title. And you're able to throw out Hicks, Cabrera, Gallegos, Reyes as their final 4 in the bullpen. Does that give you a lot of confidence?
It does, and it should. And that's what everybody thought we were going to have going into the season. That's what you got to look at when you look at this team. We've not had the team they thought we were going to have all year long. I mean, I saw that stat again today. The starting lineup that they envisioned when the season started, those 8 guys have played together in 4 games this year.
Oof.
You know, and then you've only had Hicks for about 3 weeks. You know, Flaherty's missed 2 months. You haven't had Michaelis at all, and all those other injuries. I mean, this team just has not been complete yet. And so it has to give, I mean, to be really honest, I know so many people are down and, oh, they're horrible and this is the worst Cardinal team I've ever seen and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, when this team gets healthy, look out, you know, and I've said that for a couple of weeks now because they have the potential. And just look at that line. I mean, look what that lineup can do when you have a day like today, when you have Goldie going and you have Tyler O'Neill going and you have Yachty going and Dylan Carlson starting to hit. I mean, this lineup can be really scary. And I think the pitching staff is only going to get better.
Hey, it's U-Man here from Casey. For all your sports news, catch the Toasted Tavern with Scott Tobin and the Man Called Wags, weeknights at 9 p.m. You can follow Toasted Tavern on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Let's get toasted.